Hey, what's going on, guys? So we are back here with part two of the 2025 updated Humidor tour. So this is Tupper door number 2. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first off here we have the Sobremesa Brulee Blue. I have yet to have any of these, but I absolutely love everything I've had from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Love Steve Saka's blends. So, like everything else, I'm looking forward to having these. Managed to pick these up from over at Pyramid Cigar. I don't remember exactly what I paid for these. I want to say it was around like 170 bucks shipped. Can't really complain for that. Then here we have a couple of the Plasencia Omatepes. These made waves when they came out last year. This was Plasencia's proverbial hat in the ring for a $100 cigar. I didn't pay $100 for these guys. I actually got these two from Cigar Page during one of their holiday sales. They happen to have these in stock. I got those 25% off, so I actually paid $75 per stick. I actually refused to pay $100 for any cigar. That's hence why I haven't bought the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust Unicorn Series cigars, which are usually $100 per stick. Mostly because I have a hard line. You got to draw a line in the sand somewhere with what you're willing to pay these companies. And for me, about 80 bucks is the upper. I have a few cigars in my collection that I paid $80 or slightly more than that for. I believe my Fuente Purple Rains, where if you average it out plus shipping and everything, it comes out to about, I think, $83 per stick. And then I believe I also paid around 80 bucks for my BBMF Maduro, or actually I think it might be a BBMF Natural. And then I also paid 80 bucks for my, was it the Rare Black, my Fuente Rare Black in 888. I believe that was actually might not have paid 80 bucks for that. I think I got lucky and I think somebody rung it up wrong, and I think I paid right around 40 bucks for that. But I'm not gonna complain. Next up here, we have a box of the God of Fire 2020s by Carlito. I have a lot of God of Fire, so I'm not really sure which one this is. I know it's the Carlito blend, but I don't remember which size this is. This is the Double Robusto. So this is from 2019. My bad, 2020. As you guys know, these are aged 3 years, so that actually makes this the 2023 release. And then over here, we have another box of God of Fire by Carlito. And this, I believe, is the Churchill. I've actually had a couple of these. Love the God of Fire series. Love the God of Fire by Carlito series. These just taste really, really good. They remind me of really high-end, well-aged Opus X sticks, which probably is basically what these are for the most part. I don't remember having two, but apparently I've had two because I know I didn't give one away. I do a lot of trading and giving away. So like I make little cigar like care packages for my friends. I might make them a $5 or something, and then they usually return the favor with, you know, some stuff of their own. Usually it's like mid-range stuff, but sometimes it's Cubans and things like that. Oh, so here we have a pack of the J.C. Newman Julius Caesar in Et tu Brute, or as we all know it to be, Shark. So, for those of you who don't know, J.C. Newman does have their own manufacturing plant, whatever you want to call it, but they do contract roll certain cigars. And the Julius Caesar is actually rolled by Arturo Fuente at Tabacalera Fuente. And as such, they occasionally share vitolas like this Shark here. These are not cheap. These run about $30 per stick. And I got this last year at Small Batch Cigars, actually still in the bag. I believe I bought the last 6 they had in stock. Hey, Miso. But yeah, I bought the last 6 of these that they happen to have in stock. I smoked one on vacation last year. And here we have a bag of the Opus X Oscuro, Oro Oscuro. I want to say this is the number 4, or no, this is actually the Fuente, which is basically a Corona size. It's like 5 5/8 by like 46 ring gauge. I'm not actually the biggest. I don't hate the Opus X Oro Oscuro. The issue I have is like a lot of Maduros, this leans a little too heavy into the earth side of things for me. Like I don't get a lot of the nutty flavors I prefer in Fuentes. And I don't get a lot of the like sweetness and spice that I prefer in most of my cigars. And so you're wondering like, why do you have a bag with like 12 of these in there? Well, I've noticed that with a little bit of age, a lot of those characteristics that I do love about our 12 Fuente cigars tend to come out. So I'm gonna age those. I haven't had these in a ring gauge this small, so I'm hoping that the ring gauge changes their flavor profile a little bit. All right, over here, we have a box of Don Carlos Aniversarios and Toro. So this Toro isn't really a Toro. It's like a 6 1/8 or 6 1/4 by 48. So it's basically like a short Churchill, but they call it a Toro. So I'm not going to argue about it. And much like the God of Fires and other rare Fuentes, these are part of the age selection. So these have actually been aged 3 years post-rolling. There's nothing like an aged Fuente, especially an Opus or a special blend. Put a couple years on them and they transform into something else completely. They're good fresh in most cases, sometimes not necessarily so good, but with age, it's hard to go wrong with any of the special Fuente blends. All right, you guys can see I have a couple boxes of the La Palina Goldies. I absolutely love these sticks. This is the Laguito number 5, which is like a double Robusto. Or a short Toro. I believe these are like 5 1/2 by 54 ring gauge. Little flag cap here. The Goldie is one of my favorite overall lines. And the crazy part is, I don't even really like La Palina lines. Now, I don't say that to say that La Palina is not a good brand. La Palina is obviously a good brand, right? But their blends just don't hit my palate right in most cases. I don't find them to be that enjoyable. I don't hate them, but I also don't readily go for them. I usually pass over them whenever I'm at local B&Ms that carry them. No offense, La Palina, I do not hate you guys. But the Goldie line is different. The Goldie line is one of those lines I recommend to people, you know, when I have friends or just people I'm talking to and they like to smoke Cubans preferably, and they want to know what New World cigars kind of like scratch that itch. This is one of the directions I point them in. There's a handful of cigars that can get you there, but this is one of those cigars. Okay. And then here we have a La Palina Goldie in Prominente, which is my favorite size of the La Palina Goldie. These are 6 1/4 by 48 ring gauge. Actually, I'm bad. These are 6 1/2 by 48 ring gauge cigars. Flag cap. I managed to snag this box up from Cigar page. I believe I got this box for like 145 bucks. If you're constantly on Cigar page and you pay attention to the emails, you never know what you might run into. I think actually I might have paid 155 for these, something around there. I know they were on sale, and I'm pretty sure I had some store credit to cash in as well. So, oof, definitely time to change that out. And then we have the 2024 box of the CAO Amazon Basins. This is a full box. I have not smoked anything out of here. I actually have a few singles of the 2024s to get through. I smoked one last year, pretty much fresh from the B&M, fresh off the truck. Didn't really like it. That was kind of my fault. I do plan on revisiting this cigar in hopes that it smokes considerably, in hopes that it smokes considerably better than it did, because I do love the Amazon base in general. The 2023 releases, both the regular and the Añejo, are some of my favorites, and I've heard great things about the 2025. As you guys saw in my last video, I have a full box of them, and I have a couple loose singles. I'm gonna have to definitely, feels hydrated. Definitely have to check it out though with the humidimeter to make sure these things are properly hydrated. I usually keep a Boveda pack in there just because, but I'll double check those. So this particular totes, like my newer totes, I wasn't keeping in the house like I was keeping everything else. I was keeping the newer totes in the garage because it was in the cooler months, so I wasn't really too worried about them, and kind of ran out of space. So here we have a couple Boveda packs. I might just go ahead and throw one of them in there. Here we have a pack of the Warped Isla del Cocodrilos. This was a pretty sought after cigar last year. I still been meaning to get myself a box, but just haven't gotten around to it. There were other more pressing cigars to get to. This is the Toro, obviously. And here we have a bag of the Byron 21st Century in Elegantes. This is the 2018 vintage. One of the special releases that they do every couple of years, where they do the special release Humidor, and it's, instead of being like that year's blend, it's a blend from a very specific vintage or whatever. Those are aged 4 years. Those particular cigars were rolled in 2018 and released in early 2023. Here we have a 10 of the Opus X Angel Share, and I believe these are in Chateau de Fuente, which is essentially a Churchill. As you can see, we have 3 in here. And then we have a couple of the Rocky Patel Year of the Dragons. So this was originally a 5-pack. I smoked one of these. It was okay. It was a good stick. I think I needed to rest a little bit more. I'm going to revisit these this summer, see how good these actually were. Worth the $35 price tag? I don't think so. Good sticks. Definitely not worth $35. I've graduated away from Rocky Patel over the years. And Rocky Patel, to be fair, was one of the brands that originally got me into cigars, like heavily into cigars. So they do have a special place in my heart by name, but nowadays I'm just so far into tobacco, the world of cigars in general. I've had so many brands and blends and tiers, and I just really don't smoke Rocky Patels like that anymore. So this is a random bag of Fuentes. This is some 888 Opus X's. As well as some Destino Al Siglos. Here we have a singular Davidoff Aniversario #1, still in the cedar tube. I actually have a B&M around me that still has a full box of these. And I do like these, but at $64 a stick, even for this size, and this is a massive cigar, I just don't feel myself doing. I don't see myself doing it anytime soon. But it looks like I'll have the opportunity to stock up on these as I see fit. Just because, again, nobody's really buying them. Hence why they've been sitting. This is a bag of the Unnamed Reserve 2016's Fuentes. So these are, in fact, from like 2016. Whew. We have a big bag here of the Casa Fuentes. Gold label and orange label. Various sizes. Grab a couple for you guys. So typically you can only get Casa Fuentes at Casa Fuente. But last summer, which I guess in hindsight was the theme for Arturo Fuente, they blessed the masses and gave certain stores releases. Gave certain stores a few boxes of the Casa Fuentes to distribute around the country. And I say that seemed to be the theme for Fuente because over the holidays, they released boxes of the original Dubai release, the 2017 Dubais, as well as the 2020 Dubais that came out in 2019 that everybody's familiar with the ornate, like, United Arab Emirates color scheme, the Viento del Amor, Sol del Amor, Reina del Amor, etc. So, an unopened box of SP 1014 Antras by Sanj Patel, blended by Eladio Diaz. Love Sanj Patel stuff. This is a bag of the SP 1014 Silvers, which are also very, very good. Another Sanj Patel cigar. And I found myself smoking far more Sanj Patels than Rocky Patels these days. This is a very special box. Some of you may have seen this. This is a box of the 2011, legitimately 2011, Partagas Benji Master Series. I did a whole, I'm not going to go too heavy into these, but I did a whole video and a review on these cigars. Go check that out. It's in my library somewhere. These are actually from 2011. These are 14-year-old cigars. These were highly regarded back in 2011 when they came out. I believe the Benji Master Series, which consists of multiple Vitolas, multiple releases over the course of a few years, started in like 2009. But this particular batch in Vitola came out in 2011. And like I said, I did smoke one of these. These were phenomenal. I managed to pick these up on a random Sunday at Small Batch Cigars. They sent out an email that they had these in, and I was like, that's crazy. 2011. Did a little quick research on them and went ahead and just bought them. Like, didn't do too much thinking. I was like, how often do you get a chance to buy, at the time, a 13-year-old cigar? Like I said, I did smoke one of these. Phenomenal sticks. Phenomenal sticks. And these are just a regular release. I mean, now this would be LE territory nowadays. The level of quality and flavor that comes off of these things. Ooh. All right, let's go for this. So here we have a couple 5-packs of the Oliva Serie V Milanio. This is the Figurado. I honestly can't remember if these are the regular or the Maduro. I want to say these are the regular, the natural. Those came from Cigar Page, by the way. And here, actually from Tip Top Smoke Emporium. Which, I'm actually not sure if these Malibu Ricks came from Tip Top Smoke Emporium. I want to say I got these at Rudy's Cigar Shop, and I just used a Tip Top Smoke Emporium bag. But this is a Privada Cigar Club limited release. These are phenomenal. I absolutely love these Malibu Ricks. These are from 2013, but I did manage to pick up some in 2024 as well as 2013. So those are going on a couple years old later on this year. And then here we have a bag of the Arturo Fuente 858 Rosado Sungrowns, which used to be a very, very limited production release. It wasn't even annual. They would just make a small batch run every several years. I think these originally came out in like 2004 or 5, and then again in like 2009, and then again in like 2018 or something like that. And then eventually they just kind of made it an annual thing. This is just another bag of those 858 Rosado Sungrowns. This is an unopened box here of Gellis Family Cigars Saunter. So for those of you who don't know, Gellis Family Cigars is like a side project or a subsidiary of Warped and Cal Gellis. These actually made pretty decent waves last year. This is a very good cigar. I do think that these require a little bit of age. They're good. They're already good, but I think they could be great with a year or two of age under their belt. It's just as good as they tasted a little young. Closing out this particular Tupperware, we have a full box of Andalusian Bulls. That's going to need changed out too. And then underneath that, we have another full box of the Andalusian Bull. So if you guys noticed in part 1, I had a full box of Andalusian Bulls in that video too. So that actually makes 3 full boxes of Andalusian Bulls. And I had enough Andalusian Bulls to basically make another full box. At one point, if you add it all up, I'm pretty sure I had about 39 Andalusian Bulls in the collection. But I just gave one away to a friend the other day. So I believe I'm sitting on around 38 now. Absolutely love the Andalusian Bull. And that's going to need replaced. So I'm actually glad I'm going through these totes. Like I said, these particular totes have been sitting in my garage for, I don't know, 3, almost 4 months now. So definitely good to go through this, see what needs some more humidification and what doesn't. But there you have it.